here, and I'll make my grave here its home. Tennessee.
So we're here now in Knoxville, Mr. Drew Holcomb, here to celebrate not only homecoming with the University of Tennessee, but also to be back in his hometown of college and home state of Tennessee. You doing all right today?
Oh man, I'm doing great. It's great to be here. It's gonna be a fun night.
That's great, that's great. You ready for, so I noticed you had live at the Ryman, so does this bring back a lot of those live vibes for you to be able to perform down here in Market Square?
Yeah, you know, actually when I was a student at UT, we used to come down here for Sundown in the city, and they used to have concerts down here all the time. That's right. And I've seen Guster down here, and Rilo Kiley, and Nickel Creek, and lots of other bands, Pat Green, and so yeah, to get to play this stage and where I went to school and play the 100th anniversary of the homecoming, it's pretty cool.
That's great. Now, were you able to go see the game? I knew you were invited. Were you able to go watch some of it?
Yeah, I made it to the very end of the first quarter, and then I had to come back here and sound check. But yeah, we went, saw the Power Tee and all that, and it was, yeah, it's great.
That's great. That's awesome. So going back to when you were at UT, before you graduated in 2003, what was that like, and how did you pick up music and get that kick-started while here in college?
Yeah, so I started playing like bars around town when I was a senior in college. So a place called Lucille's that doesn't exist anymore, Downtown Grill and Brewery, Barley's, Patrick Sullivan's, Preservation Pub, and I would just like play a mixture of covers and original songs, and that's kind of how I got started. Then I moved back home to Memphis and started working on my first record.
Yeah, now when did you go back to Nashville and start the career there? Because I know that's Music City, had to have been pretty big for you to start.
Yeah. Well, I actually started in Memphis and lived there for 2 years, and then married my wife Ellie, who I had met in college. She was still in Knoxville, and we ended up in Nashville like summer of 2006. Okay. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so now, I guess, you mentioned Ellie, and we've heard that she's leaving the band. And what is that like? And is it going to be more? Is there more emphasis on letting the kids grow up and hanging out with them more? And how is that going to affect the band?
Well, she actually left touring about 2 years ago, but she still plays some shows. Like she'll be here tonight for this show because it's kind of a special night. And you know, yeah, we started having kids, and she's got some of her own musical stuff that she does, and it just made sense for her to kind of step away. And it's been a great transition. So it's fun to have her back on nights like tonight.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So more on the music, and so after you've been able to establish all these records, what has it been like to have those featured in shows like One Tree Hill and How I Met Your Mother? And what is that like, not only to be able to hear that, but to know that you're represented in such a way?
Well, it's interesting because like TV has been our radio in a way, because our music that we make doesn't fit on country radio or pop radio. So you know, getting our songs on. We've been on like 60 TV shows now, and some of the more popular ones like One Tree Hill and Parenthood and a bunch of others. But we've made fans all over the world from that exposure, and it's been great to, you know, we just make the records we want to make, and for some reason they work well on TV, and that's been great.
Yeah. So I guess a little bit more fun. What would have to be your favorite song to perform live, and then what's your favorite song to perform in the studio?
Here We Go is my favorite song to play live because it's just ridiculous and fun, and the crowd gets into it. It's kind of got a big sing-along thing going on. And then I like, in the studio, it's really fun to do the quieter songs like What Would I Do Without You, and Wine We Drink, and stuff like that, just because they have an intimacy that can only really be captured in kind of in the moment, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. So have you been able to, so you're off tour now, and are you heading back to Memphis to be working on some new music, and what does that look like?
We actually just started a new record 2 days ago. So Thursday and yesterday we were in the studio, and then got on the bus this morning, came here, go back home, have tomorrow off, and go back in the studio Monday and work probably till Thanksgiving on a new record.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And what has it been like for your children? I'm sure they're younger, but what's their experience been like, as of what you can see?
Yeah, well, our 4-year-old today, we were walking around town and saw my face on one of the posters, and she goes, "There's Dad!" You know, and she ran up and took a picture, and it's just cool. You know, she loves music. She loves to get on stage and singing, and it'll be fun to watch her grow up and see what she thinks about it all, you know.
Do you think she might try to take on music as well as a profession?
That's up to her, you know. Yeah. One thing I love about my parents and Ellie's parents is they never told us what we should do with our lives. They just said work hard and do something you love. And
that's it. And we noticed that your father told you while you were in college here, you know, it's not about what you major in, it's about what you learn. Yeah. You know, and so what of that kind of keeps you going?
Well, I think it's a great point. He said, don't worry about what you major in, but just learn how to learn, and you can do anything you want. And so I loved history. I was a history major. It didn't necessarily overtly have anything to do with my career, but, you know, I learned how to think about the world and enjoy the idea of story and narrative. And I think people should just, whatever they do, work really hard at it and let the chips fall.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Going back a little bit to your UT career, so obviously we're student broadcast. We love to see not only celebrities come back and come to Knoxville, more so a graduate and an alum of our school. What kind of advice would you have to give for college students, not only in the music industry, but kind of stepping forth in their life?
Yeah, I would say, that a year is a lot. Means a lot less than you think it does. And what I mean by that is I feel like everybody gets out of college, they go, man, I have to figure out what I want to do because I don't, I've got to make that decision now. And as a 34-year-old, I look back and I think, man, those years between 22 and 27, it's a great time to explore different options, get a few different jobs, travel the world if you can, find something that you really care about, but more than anything, also realize it just takes a while and it's hard. And no matter what you do, and so having patience, I think, is the most important thing that I've learned since leaving UT.
Great. So while you were in college, what was your most valuable time? When did you find yourself having the most fun, away from music?
All right, so the least amount of fun I did was after my freshman year, I made all my classes on Tuesday and Thursday from 8 to 5.
Absolutely not.
And then, then I had all day Wednesday off and all day Friday off. And then Mondays I went to the library from 8 a.m. to midnight and left for meals. And I got all my work done in one day, had class Tuesday, Thursday, and had 4 days off every week.
So that was the worst or the best?
Well, the worst was Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, but then Wednesday I did whatever I wanted. Friday, Saturday, Sunday we went backpacking and camping and went to away games and we had a blast.
Yeah. So more on Tennessee football. As you know, we won today and it was a great game. Super excited that we were able to pick up the last two that we didn't get. So were you a Tennessee Vols fan whenever you were at school here? Were you attending all the games? And you said you found yourself going to some away games as well. What was it like being back in that environment today?
Yeah, well, I actually grew up going to games. My dad was a UT grad and so came here as a kid. It was great. When I was here, we were pretty good. It was the Casey Clausen years and went to the SEC championship one time when I was here. Lost to Georgia 4 years in a row. So everybody else hates Florida and Alabama. Mine is Georgia. So this year I'm hey, we beat Georgia. I don't care about the rest of it. I just would love to beat Alabama. But it's great. It's great to be back. I think the football thing is such a part of the life here. I really enjoyed that. But it wasn't the defining thing of my experience. I didn't go to every single game. I'd pick 5 or 6 and go to those and one big away game and live some other life,
That's awesome. Okay, so about Tennessee, we'll be hearing that tonight. I know that's a big hit, and I know a lot of our colleagues and all of us have listened to it, and it's something we love to hear. Will we be hearing it tonight?
Of course, absolutely.
That's awesome. So being back in Knoxville and playing that song, if you had to sum it up in one word, what would you give us?
Oh man, one word. Feelings, all the feelings.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's just such a memory trip for me to be here and to play, and still feels current though. It's not nostalgic. It's wow, we really did this. This is cool.
A little bit about the festival that you host back in Memphis. Tell us about that and what it's been like to host a whole festival for people who are trying to become uprising artists as well.
Yeah, well, I just love curating music. We have a record club that I curate, vinyl records every month. And I love hosting a festival, showing my fans the music that I love and the friends that we've made on the road. It's been a really cool thing. I just wanted to I love my hometown of Memphis. I wanted to bring bands and bring fans there from all over the place and just have a great weekend together, and kind of like a family reunion. It's been awesome.
Sure. So music all the time, except for tomorrow. You'll have your day off.
Yes.
That's great. My final question for you has to be, You've seen a lot of success, and as you said, you've been able to overcome a lot of those obstacles, but what are you looking forward to next, besides maybe the growth of your family and the growth of the band? What are some future goals that you may have for yourself and the band?
Yeah, for me, it's all about, you make a new record and you push yourself really, really hard writing songs, and it's you're starting over every time and recreating and digging deeper and trying to say something else than you haven't said before and, express yourself musically in new ways. And then to go on the road and reinvent your show so that the fans get to experience what they've loved about you before, but also adding on this new layer. And it's like you're an author, but you get to rewrite. They get to write a sequel every 2-3 years, And so for me, it's all about writing a sequel that hopefully is better than the one that came before.
Sure. Great. Well, guys, this has been Vol Talk and Drew Holcomb in Knoxville, and we look forward to his event that we're going to be able to hang out with him. And thank you for joining us today. Great.
Hey, y'all, this is Drew Holcomb, and this is Vol Talk.
Tennessee, Tennessee. Tennessee.